Beautiful. Swaying from side to side. Okay, so take the hands just above the knees now. Push the feet down and out. And as you do so, lengthen the crown of the head forward so that we straighten the back. Shoulders are right away from ears, lifting those sitting bones. Really work on the whole of the back of the body so it feels as if you've got that orange between your shoulders and you're just gently holding the orange in place. Breathe in again, and as you exhale, just go and let the head drop down. We'll do that one more time. So push the floor away, draw yourself back into that upside down L shape, draw the shoulders away from the ears, crown of the head rocketing forward, sitting bones lifted. Now see if you can push the floor away a tiny bit more to stretch those hamstrings. At the same time, make sure the base of the ribcage is sucking in towards your spine so it feels as if all of your corsetry is working very, very hard. Keep breathing, so we're telling our body and our mind that we are fine, even though we're stressing the body. Good. Now I'm going to get you to take your hands onto your hips, slightly bend the knees. Now push the floor away, scoop up with your heart center so the back of your legs brings you up to a standing position. And then come and stand so that the feet are just hip width apart. We do a few squats. If you've got that track, my squatting track, you can always put that on now. Draw the shoulders back into place. So we want to make sure we retract the shoulders here. And remember, when we're squatting, the knees don't go over the ankles. They stay on top of the ankles. So imagine someone's got your tail and they're pulling your tail back and up. So lift your sitting bones back and up. Now drop your knees. So make sure you do bend your knees. Keep your heart lifted. Now make it feel as if your sitting bones are they've got weights. So they are back behind you, but they are also slightly weighted towards the ground. So this is called Utkatasana, power pose. On an exhale, we push the ground away, we come up, and then release the pelvic floor and drop down again. So push the ground away, come up, drop the pelvic floor. So we really get that feeling that on that exhale, the vacuum effect happens, the pelvic floor lifts up, and we know we can then release it. So we know what it feels like to let the pelvic floor muscles drop to basement level, and we know what it feels like when the diaphragm draws up and the pelvic diaphragm also draws up. Good. So really push the floor away. It's easy just to lock your knees. Try not to do that. Try to make this action pushing through the heels in order to get those glutes really working. And just a couple more here. And slow up and arms down. Roll those shoulders. Okay, so a balance just to release those glutes again. Same as pigeon pose. Crown of the head is lifted. Squeeze thigh muscles in. Put your ankle on top of your other knee. Hands together. Press the hands together, lift the elbows. Squeeze the orange between your shoulder blades. And then bend the knee and pull your tail back. So as the knee drops out to the side, we stretch into those glutes. Try to keep your eye gaze on that point in front and soften the breath. Soften the little muscles around your eyes. Fantastic. So balancing, wonderful, the muscles in our feet. Wonderful for allowing the brain to be stable even when stressing the body. So take the weight over to the other side, keep your hands pressing together, and see if you can take the ankle on top of your other knee. Keep pulling your tail back and up. Keep drawing the bent knee down towards the ground. Squeeze those thigh muscles into thigh bone. Good, nice roots down through your standing foot. And then slowly coming up. And give your give your hips another little Elvis twist here. Whew. Very good. And then a little bit more on the core, coming into our balance, the crocodile snapping shut. So crown of the head is lifted, base of the rib cage is in, behind us. Feel that lovely relaxation through the shoulders. Take your left foot out behind you. Make sure the top of your bottom is switched on. So this is gluteus medius here at the top of your bum. Make sure the muscles just above your knee is squeezing in towards your thigh bone here. Okay, open your crocodile jaws. Shoulders are relaxed. As you exhale, you draw tummy muscles in and up. we get a natural lift through the pelvic floor. Opening on the inhale, exhaling to close. So eye gaze again on a fixed spot in front of you. Try to relax the muscles around the eyes. You consciously soften your face. Use a little bit of constriction as you breathe out through your mouth. So rather than just going, breathing out, see if you can purse your lips and blow out through an imaginary straw. What that does is it creates more of a drag, more of an accordion-like pressure through the diaphragm, and therefore more of vacuum through those pelvic floor muscles. Last one, slow it right down. Then see if you can take your arms out to the side and kick your foot forward, shoulders relaxed, corset reel switched on, crown of the head is lifting, and then soften and give your standing leg a little bit of a shake. So changing now into the other leg, squeeze thigh muscles in, toes behind you, top of the muscle, the top of the glutes, gluteus medius switched on, arms open, shoulders relaxed, exhaling in, inhaling to open, exhaling in, inhaling to open. Good. Keep that eye gaze, that vristi, focused on that point in front. So it feels like the inner pilot line is nice and steady, even though the winds around the arms and the legs flowing causing a vibration. We're still still internally. Smooth breath. Let's make this the last one. So slow it right down. Slow. And then arms out to the side, shoulders are relaxed, stick the foot out in front of you, lift up through the crown of the head, push the floor away, drop down, and then give that standing leg another shake release. Very good. So we want the mat in front of us like so, hands on those hip flexors, push them back, so bum comes behind you, folding yourself down, drop down, downward facing dog to start off with. Now, if downward facing dog at this stage is still not that comfortable, I want you to have a play with down dog, shoulders away from the ears, and then come to cat and cow, and then back to down dog. If you love down dog, stay here, take your feet towards each other, and then stick your right foot out behind you, so we get a deep stretch through the left calf. And then take your foot towards your bottom, and lift your knee and your hip up towards the ceiling, so you look underneath your armpit. Shoulders roll away from your ears, so we don't want pressure in the shoulders. And then drop down with that side, and come up on the other side. So remember, if this is too much on your shoulders at this stage of the game, we want to come through cat and cow, down dog for just a few breaths, and then cat and cow. And I'm going to get all of you to drop down onto your knees, bottom back towards your heels, and either stacking fists, forehead drops onto the fist so we can relax those shoulders, or if you can reach your forehead onto the ground, take your hands back behind you towards your feet, and let your shoulders be very relaxed. If you've got a pillow nearby, you might slide it between your bottom and your heels, or if the top of your feet feel tight, maybe slide a pillow or a blanket underneath the top of your feet. Breathe here and soften into the pelvic floor. So we've got a nice stretched out pelvic floor here. Really allow the breath to be received into the pelvic floor. So very consciously going down to that basement level on the pelvic floor. Beautiful. So we're going to come up onto forearms, knees and forearms. Now, if you happen to have a bolster outside with you or some bricks, you might put them underneath your knees so that your pelvis is a little bit higher. So don't worry if you don't. I'm not going to use anything here. So we're going to either, this is step one, and then we're going to step two. Step one is to drop back on the inhale, and then exhale, take your shoulders just over your elbows towards your wrists. And as we exhale, we want to draw upwards through the pelvic floor muscles. So we feel the pelvic floor lifting, we feel a drawing in of the base of the rib cage. So that's step one. And if we're happy with just this at the moment, that release of the pelvic floor and drawing in and up of the pelvic floor, then I want you to stay with this. If you would like to try that vacuum lift through the pelvic organs, then what we want to do is take a deep breath in and stretch the breath into those ribs, intercostal muscles. So we flare the ribs. As we breathe out, we feel that vacuum through the pelvic floor. We pause at the end of the exhalation and then consciously flare your ribs out. So you don't breathe in, you just flare your ribs out and you feel more of a vacuum scooping your lower belly, so all of your organs right up underneath the rib cage. And then you'll need to let your belly go as you breathe in and just drop back again on the breath in. Take a couple of breaths here to relax, because it's quite an exertion to do that hyperpressive breath, that vacuum breath. So we breathe in, breathe out fully through your mouth, so all of the air leaves the body, and then consciously try to flare your ribs. You'll come forward a tiny bit more and feel more of a scoop through your lower belly and a vacuum through your pelvic floor, and then just let your belly go and drop back down again. So if any of you got any questions about this, do just switch on your audio and ask me. Otherwise, just see if you can feel on that false inhalation where you flare your ribs, you can feel more of a sucking up sensation of your organs lifting away from the pelvic floor. You'll feel a lift. You might feel a constriction around your neck as well, around your clavicles. And then drop back down again. So just doing one or two more of those. And when you're finished, I'm going to get you, actually we'll come straight onto our bellies. So when you finish, just come down onto your bellies and rest. So take your hands together, elbows out to the side, tuck your chin in and let your forehead rest on your hands. And take your toes in and your heels out. So we've got a nice space behind the lower back and into the sacrum area here. And now just breathing into the ground. So it feels as if you're flaring your lower belly into the ground. You're getting a nice bit of kind of softness through the whole of the pelvic bowl here. And now we're going to focus just on the urethra. So as we exhale, I want you to squeeze inwards and draw upwards. So I use the expression testicles to spectacles on this one. As you exhale, you draw inwards and you zip upwards, as if you were squashing a hose pipe inwards. You're pinching it inwards, and then you're pulling it up. So if you imagine your urethra is about 6 centimeters long, and we're visually, mentally trying to draw it in and up to tone, keep this, the muscle fibers here, the striata, nice and mobile. So we want a nice mobile bladder neck as opposed to stiff, when everything kind of dries out and the sphincter muscles can't operate properly. So we squeeze in and then lift up, doing that on an exhale. And then as you inhale, just kind of let everything soften. Beautiful. Keep your left hand underneath your forehead. Roll your right shoulder back. Grab hold of your ankle if you can, and then flex your foot. Draw your knees as close as you can together. It doesn't really matter if they're wide apart, but as close as it's comfortable. And then on an exhalation, push your pubic bone down into the ground. So you stretch the front of the pelvis. You stretch into the psoas muscle and also into the quads, so the front of your thighs. So if you like to do the Brahmaharya breath, the buzzy bee breath, then do that here. And that long buzzy bee breath out is a super highway into the parasympathetic nervous system. So, and as you exhale, you press the pelvis down a little bit more. And then just let that leg go and swap hands. So the other hand comes forward, roll the shoulder back, chin's tucked in, so nice long cervical spine. And pressing the pubic bone down and stretching right out through the thighs. The knee feels as if it's sliding away from you. Maybe doing a couple of the Brahmaharya breaths here. And the feet, take both hands behind you, roll the shoulders back, stretch your fingertips back behind you, little fingers up, thumbs down. Now inhale to inflate your lungs and just let your chest lift up. So we've got that orange between our shoulders. We're giving it a little bit of a squeeze here, and then let your chest roll back. Now let's do that again. So inhale. This time, try to take your toes off the ground as well. So pull toes and fingertips back, crown of the head rockets forward. So we strengthen the back of the body, the corsetry here, and then relax down. Just turn the head to one side for a moment. Let the whole body become like a jellyfish. So we squeeze and then we release. We squeeze and then we release. And one more time. Roll the shoulders back. Lifting up. Pulling back. Nice and alive here. And when we come down, toes in again. Heels out again. Forehead supported again. Back to crocodile pose. And just rock the pelvis from side to side. So we release the back. We have that nice feeling of all the muscles have been activated. The blood is flowing through the body. Wonderful. Coming onto your forearms into Sphinx pose. So now the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Stretch your fingertips out. Pull your forearms back towards your body. And this helps to draw the shoulders back and send the chest forward. So we're looking for just a gentle curve through the back. So don't chuck your head back. Keep your head as part of that gentle curve. Chin is drawing back. A little bit of a double chin here. So this is a gentle stretch through the spine. Nice hydration into the vertebra. And then take the forearms a little bit wider. Drop one shoulder down, look over the other shoulder. Check your foot still there and up and over to the other side. So it feels as if the back of the shoulder is pushing towards the front of the shoulder. So we're getting that mobilization through the upper back area. Just looking from one side to the other, and then rolling onto your backs. If you've got a pillow nearby or a blanket, you might just want to slide it underneath the ridge of your head in order to keep your neck long, and so you're not taking your chin upwards and you're not flaring through the chest. We want to draw the base of the ribcage slightly down if we can. So keep that little curve through the lower back here. Start with a couple of cat-cows. So start by flattening the lower back and then releasing it. Flattening the lower back and then releasing it. So you tuck the tail and then release. And then do the exhalation and then the inhalation. So exhale to tuck and inhale. Exhale to tuck and then inhale. So this is a really nice way to release the lower back, but also it tones deep into the pelvic bowl and into those core muscles. Great. Now take the feet a little bit wider, and now we're going to push the floor away with our heels. As we exhale, we do a little tuck, so flattening the lower belly, and then we push the floor away and we start to work those glutes as we come up into a bridge, into a diagonal line here. Roll back down again, let the glutes relax, let the pelvic floor relax. So push the floor away, coming up, and then float back down again. Do a couple of these so we just get that nice massage through the spine. A really healthy way to keep the vertebra mobile, to keep us tall. So from sort of mid-40s, we should be measuring ourselves every year. And it's really important we do things to keep the vertebra healthy. Keep the discs nice and plump. Okay, so this time, feet a little bit wider. This time we're coming up, and then we're going to squeeze our knees and our thighs together. So we're going to go pulse, 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 release the knees, roll back down again, let everything be soft. So push through the feet, come up, pulse your knees and your thighs, squeeze, 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 release, and roll back down. Soften your bum, soften your pelvic floor. Pushing up, squeeze, 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 release, roll back down. So do a couple more of those. This is really great for working deep, deep into the pelvic bowl, as well as working on all the stabilizing muscles around the pelvis. And then come back down. Good. Knees into chest, hand on top of the knees, roll the knees around. So we create a stirring sensation. Femurs into the pelvis. massaging into the lower back. One direction and then the other. Nice big circles here. Great. And then toes together, knees out. Grab the inside of your shins or maybe your ankles. Press the forearms into the thighs so we stretch all into the groin area here. Shoulders nice and relaxed, jaw relaxed. Just check in with the jaw. The pelvic floor and the jaw are deeply connected. And when we consciously release the lower jaw, we also get a lengthening, a softening of the pelvic floor muscles. And then feet up towards the ceiling, either holding onto ankles here. You might be able to inch your fingers to hook onto the inside of your feet, the arches of your feet. So if you can do that, pull your knees down and really get that delicious deep stretch right across the groin. See if you can imprint all of your back into the ground. So don't let your tail tuck upwards. See if you can press your lower back into the ground, upper back into the ground, shoulders into the ground. And maybe even pushing on one foot and then the other. So it's almost like you're pulling on parachute strings to get that lovely massage across your back. Smooth, smooth breath here. And soft belly. Wonderful. Knees in towards your chest again, arms out to the side, dropping over into a twist. So hand can be on top of the knees. If you find your knees are up like that, if you've got a pillow nearby, just slide your pillow underneath your knees. So knees have got something to soften into. And then try to turn your head away from your knees. So you corkscrew your spine. It's a really nice massage into your intestines. Great for digestion. Smooth, slow breath, lower belly soft. And as you exhale, take tummy button to spine. So you use your core muscles to come up and over to the other side, dropping knees down, hand on top of the knees. Nice relaxed upper back area. And see if you can get your shoulders towards the ground. Good. So for this next little bit, I'm going to get you to have a play. If you have a wall nearby, use your wall, or maybe a seat that you can put your feet over. If not, doesn't matter. We're just going to do some bits and pieces with our legs up. So if you've got a wall, the hips are close, and you might have your legs up the wall, and I'm just going to get you to have your legs sort of drawing apart. If not, or on the ground, if you're outside enjoying the sunshine, take your knees back up again. Take your toes together. See if you can grab your ankles, maybe even your big toes, and start to press your heels away. So we start to get a deep stretch right out into those inner thigh muscles and right into the hamstrings. So you might have a strap or a scarf nearby, and if you have, you can put that over your feet and just slide your feet wide on your prop. Otherwise, take from baby pose and just kind of press your feet a little bit wider. Or if you've got a wall, you can always just slide your legs down the wall. So for us ladies, keeping your inner thigh muscles both strong but also long is a very big part of long-term pelvic health. And just allowing the body to soften into this position, wherever you are, whatever props you're using. If your knees are over the top of a chair or a bench, you just let the feet widen here, so you stretch the inside of the thighs. Now, if you've got your legs up the wall, take the outside of your knees, draw your legs together, and then just enjoy Viparita Karani. So palms up. If you've got a bolster or a pillow, you can put underneath your bottom. That just lifts up the pelvis, and it'll allow the pelvic organs to drop away from the pelvic floor. If you practice shoulder stand, so if you're practicing shoulder stand, if you're outside, I don't know if any of you do, but you might want to draw yourself into a bridge pose so that the heels of the hands are towards each other, the outside of the hands are holding onto the outside of the pelvis. And then just try taking one foot up and then the other foot up. And if it's comfortable to do that, you can take both feet up towards the ceiling or towards the sky and just hold yourself in half shoulder stand. If that's comfortable, you draw the legs up, you turn the hands so the feet are right above you. So only doing shoulder stand if that's something you practice normally, because obviously I'm not there to supervise. But if this is something that you practice normally, then it is a lovely thing to do to finish your practice with. Otherwise, coming into either just legs above you, Viparita Karani, and just letting the legs hang into the pelvis. If you've got a wall there, really nice just to let the legs be supported by the wall. Good. So for this next bit, if you have got your legs against the wall, just leaving them there. If you did come into shoulder stand, just drawing yourself slowly back down again. And you want to take a moment in fish pose. So that is legs out straight. Take the arms underneath the body. So your thumbs are together. Your elbows are as close together as possible. Your palms are facing downwards. Thumbs together, elbows as close together as possible, shoulders as close together as possible. You straighten your legs, but you pull your toes back. So we've nice straight legs here. And then we push the forearms into the mat and lift the chest towards the sun, and then drop the head back. So the top of the head is very, very gently touching the ground. So there's hardly any pressure through the head or the neck. The weight of the body is all through the forearms. So we're just taking the head in the opposite direction from shoulder stand. And then we draw the chin in, we slide the head back onto the ground, take the hands out from underneath us. If you're lucky enough to have you're outside and you've got a bolster or a pillow, place it underneath your knees so the knees can just drop out to the sides. If not, just have your feet wide, palms facing upwards. Close your eyes. If you've got a scarf, you can put it over your eyes. And just allow the ground now to hold your body. So taking yourself into a rest pose, legs at the wall, or full Shavasana. Allowing all of the pelvic muscles and bones in particular to become heavy. So focusing from the pelvis outwards, and then from the pelvic bowl, letting the whole body become very heavy.